It wasn't that long ago that if you were looking to launch a new business or a new brand, you had a few options: television, radio, and print media. That was kind of it. Within each of those categories, you did have local and some targeted placements you could go after. But in today's media world, the options to grow a new business are somewhat limitless. There are tons of massive social and content platforms available where brands can get the word out to new audiences and really launch and grow a business. So the question is that we often get from new potential clients is, what is the best platform to launch a new brand, specifically a new brand on Shopify? And what I'm going to do is walk through a few different options and considerations to help you understand our recommendations for what are the best platforms when you are looking to launch or grow on Shopify. So first thing to think about is that you really want to think about the difference between capturing demand and creating demand. Capturing demand is great for brands that have products with high search volume. So this could be things like, let's say if you're selling a new type of silverware, or you're selling an automotive accessory that people purchase all the time. Every time they buy a car, they're looking to purchase this type of auto accessory. Or maybe a new type of notebook where there's lots of search demand in that category and for your specific type of product. In those cases, capturing search with a search engine like Google or even YouTube or Bing could be fantastic because people are already searching for the products that you're looking to sell, and you can get in front of them when they are in a moment of high consideration or intent to purchase. So that's one thing to consider, is whether you want to capture demand and whether your products allow for you to capture demand, or whether you need to or want to create demand for your product. Demand creation is when you are going after audiences who have no idea that your brand exists. They might not have any idea that your product exists or even the product category exists. And so there's not going to be much search volume there. So you need to go out and create demand for that new product. So if you are creating an innovative new sports collectible, or you've got this new product that nobody has ever heard of or even thought about, you need to create demand for that new brand and product set before you can go capture any search intent. Otherwise, you can create a great strategy and promotion on Google, but if nobody's searching for your products, it's going to be a little bit tougher to capture that demand. So think about demand capture, which you want to leverage search engines for that, and also think about demand creation. Demand creation is when you interrupt people when they're going about their day. There's lots of ways to do that, and create content in a way that will introduce the brand and product set to them and educate them that this product exists. So think about those two different things. Typically, the first set, we want to go after the search engines. For the second set, where we're creating demand, we want to go after the big social or content platforms, places like Meta, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, lots of others. And then for capturing search demand, Google, Bing, YouTube as well. And yes, there's crossover across all the platforms, but those are some good ways to think about it. Other things you want to consider when you're considering which platform to market your products on are going to be things like, what do your content assets look like? Do you have really high quality video assets? If not, it might be hard to be profitable on some of the bigger content platforms where video does really well, right? So launching on YouTube without video might be kind of difficult. Launching on Instagram might be difficult. If you don't have video assets, you can do it, but because Reels are a big thing, video is going to be super helpful for that. So consider what you have. If you just have images, maybe you stay away from some of the platforms where video is prioritized. Second, what's the visual appeal? If your products are, once again, have high search demand, but they're not super visually compelling, you may not want to go on a platform that doesn't allow or is meant for that visual aspect and that visual storytelling. If, on the other hand, you don't have much search demand, but your product looks beautiful, it's visually stunning, and you can create really cool video and image assets for that product, you want to be able to promote that on a platform like Pinterest, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, where those are visual first platforms. So consider that. Is your customer avatar, are those audiences available to target on the platform you're considering? So for Facebook, there are certain audiences you can target, there are certain audiences you can't. Consider if the audience you're going after is targetable. If it's not targetable on one of the larger media platforms, you may want to focus on search demand and capturing search intent if you can, and then over time you can build up that audience set. And once you have that audience set, you can then share that audience with one of those content platforms to help coach it on the targeting longer term. Another consideration is conversion history. Do you have conversion history in your account? Is your pixel seasoned? Have you generated enough purchases against a Facebook pixel or a Google pixel where if you go live or launch again, that history is going to be there, and so that platform should be able to kick things off in a better way than if you were just starting fresh. So that's definitely something to consider. You also want to think about your budget. Depending on what your budget looks like, you may only be able to go live with one platform. In general, the more platforms you launch, the more you can test, the better your results will be, because the purchase pathway today is not usually singular. Usually for most brands, people might be interrupted by an ad on TikTok or Meta or Pinterest or YouTube, and then maybe they search for your brand the next week on Google, and then maybe they sign up for an email newsletter, and then maybe a week later they get an email from you, and then maybe the next day they get retargeted, and then they purchase. So having multiple platforms ready to go so that you can be in front of people at all the different consideration points that consumers have, that's going to benefit your business. But if your budget is just kind of at a starting point and you're just getting going, maybe you're self-funding and you kind of have an entry level budget, don't spread that across 5 platforms. Maybe focus on one, get that dialed in, and then once you're profitable, you can roll that, you can scale that up and then out to other platforms. Product category matters. There are some product categories that are restricted on certain platforms. Let's say if you sell CBD, or you're in pharma, or you're in some type of health product, you may need to, some platforms just may be off the table for you for now. So consider that as you are looking at the platforms to scale on. Once again, ideally you can run across multiple platforms. Ideally you will have lots of marketing automation in place, email flows, SMS flows, you can have campaigns running across those as well. Ideally you're running with influencers, ideally you're doing lots of organic social media. So there's lots of stuff you can do. Our suggestion typically is to start with one platform, get it dialed in, and then scale up and out from there. But long term, you want to be across lots of different platforms, so in case one falls off, you have defensibility and stability in your business. So those are some considerations. It's not just one platform where we would typically say, when new clients come to us, we don't say for every client, you need to start with Google and then you move to Facebook. It's very custom depending on the brand, depending on the product category, depending on the goals of the business, depending on the resources available, including the budget. And then from there, we can make a recommendation as to the best strategy and path forward. But these are some considerations that you should think about if you are looking to launch or grow on Shopify and you're trying to figure out which platform makes sense for you. Think about all those options, the assets you have, the audiences available to target, whether you want to capture demand or create demand or do both, and then you can try to figure out the right platform from there. So hope this helps. Best of luck growing your Shopify sales. If you need help, get in touch with our team. We'd love to connect and talk about building a strategy and helping you have your best sales year ever on Shopify. Just get in touch. We'll connect then. Otherwise, we wish you the best growing on your own and have an amazing year ahead.